What's up, everybody? It's me, Phil Porto. Thank you so much for joining us on today's quick tip. And what I want to talk about is 5 reasons that a no days off mentality can be harmful to any photographer or videographer. So the reason I want to talk about this topic is because it is near and dear to my heart. When I was getting the Portos off the ground, I really had an unhealthy mindset on pursuing my passion as a business. And it really put a lot of tension on the things that were important to me and a lot of tension in my family and my friendships and so forth. And so I want to help you guys if you're currently in that place where you feel like you're taking no days off and you feel like you're constantly go and working. I want to speak about my experience to kind of help you guys get out of that. And if you're starting a business now as a photographer or videographer, I want to push back against the culture that tells you that a no days off mentality is the way to go and how that's important and great. Because if you look back at my old Instagram photos, I pridefully use that no days off hashtag every single post because I was so proud that I was go work nonstop killing it, and it actually did so much damage. And so I want to push back against what culture tells you is the way to go into this, because if you search no days off, you're going to see t-shirts, you're going to see mugs, you're going to see decals, you're going to see posts galore on how a real entrepreneur realizes that they have to give 110%. And though you want to give your all to what you're doing, I want to push against this mentality and tell you why. And so for the first reason is because it usually starts off as a season, but then that season never ends. So think of like a merry-go-round. You get on a merry-go-round, it's fun for a little bit, but after a while, how many times can you go in that same circle over and over and over and over again? It's gotta be exhausting. You wanna get off of that merry-go-round. But what if you can't? And that's how the no days off mentality wound up being for me. I used to think that I could do a no days off, mentality for a few days and then stop, do it for a season and then stop, but there was no stop. And there's a quote that was really popular online, and it says, "Success is never owned, it's only rented, and the rent is due every day." And I think that statement is toxic. Like, it sounds exhausting. Like, no days off, and it's never owned. Success is never owned. It's only rented, and rent is due every day. That's exhausting. Like, to have to think that you're always going to have to pay up and you're always going to have to give more. That's exhausting and also sounds financially draining and emotionally draining. So I want to talk about the fact that a no days off season never stays just a season. So be careful when you get into that kind of mindset, because you may never get out of it. And when you do, it might be when your back is flat up against the floor and you realize that something has to change. Second, it feels like you're chasing something that is never ending. When you get on this no days off mentality, you're pretty much chasing after something. You're chasing after recognition, you're chasing after a name, you're chasing after financial freedom. But once you start getting to certain places, then that place that you wanted to be at gets replaced by something else. So a lot of photographers are like, if I could just get enough Instagram likes or enough Instagram follows, and then you see that other people are getting more Instagram likes or Instagram follows than you are, then it's, I gotta work harder, I gotta compete, I gotta make sure that I'm the cream of the crop, or I need to get a choo-choo on Looks Like Film, I need to be featured on this magazine or this blog. Okay, now I'm featured on this one, but this is a bigger and better blog, and so I got to be featured on that one now, or I got to win this award because this award will get me to this certain spot. And so one thing I always talk about when I mentor photographers, and I see that they have this zeal to be known and be praised for their work, is I talked to them about my journey being rangefinder top 30 and how, it was a cool experience to be acknowledged by the creative community that my work was good. But when it comes to how many weddings I've booked off of that, or how many clients have noticed that I was rangefinder top 30 and they reached out because of that, there was 2. won a long time ago in Australia, which was about 3 months after I won the award, and they didn't book because they couldn't afford my package or to get me out there. And then the second was this past week, and I'm waiting for a date to set up and get to know that couple. But in the whole 2 years that I've had that award, nothing came from it. So yes, it's fun and fulfilling for a moment to go, man, that's great, but it does not satisfy. And so there's a quote, and I'm gonna actually read it because I don't want to screw it up, but it's a quote by Madonna. Anybody, no matter where you're watching this video from, you know the name Madonna. It's a household name. My mom used to be a huge Madonna fan, and she used to dance around and sing around listening to Madonna all through my childhood. And so this is what the quote says. It says, "I have an iron will, and all of my will has always been to conquer some horrible feeling of inadequacy. I push past one spell of it and discover myself as a special human being. And then I get to another stage and I think I'm mediocre and uninteresting. Again and again. My drive in life is from the horrible fear of being mediocre. And that's always pushing me, because even though I've become somebody, I still have to prove that I am somebody. My struggle has never been ended and probably never will." Holy crap. Madonna, like a virgin, like Queen of Pop. She has the title Queen of Pop. And she does not feel fulfilled. She does not feel like her no days off mentality has led her to a place where she feels fulfilled. And that's crazy. So that's really a monster that we have to tackle head on, because if we're always trying to make sure that we're feeling praised or acknowledged, and that's why we're doing this no days off mentality, we're never going to be fulfilled. And like I said in point number 1, it's going to keep us on that never ending merry-go-round and feeling exhausted, because we always need more recognition, we always need more praise, and that will never come to a place where we're content. And so the third is that you lose your passion. Like, I don't know about you, but I enjoy certain things. I enjoy playing basketball, and that's one of my favorite things to do. And so when I have free time, I want to go out and I want to shoot hoops. I want to play with my friends. But if I did that every single day, as out of shape as I am, my body would start to tell me, bro, cut back. Like, this is no longer fun. You're exhausting me. And I realized that that would no longer be fun. I would no longer be passionate about that. And so you want to make sure that when you're doing it, you don't put yourself to a point where you're robbing yourself of the joy of being a photographer, the joy of being a videographer, because that lack of joy will start to show up in your work, and that's not cool. That's not cool to allow your lack of passion to then affect your clients. So make sure you're keeping track on the fact that you have to restore your joy and restore your passion. And if you fill your calendar up from top to bottom every single day with to-dos, you're not going to leave time to just enjoy what you do and go out and create for the sake of creating. So do not allow your passion to be robbed. Going hand in hand with your passion is the idea of burnout, and burnout's a real thing. And if you haven't, watch my Why the Fuji X-100V Never Leaves My Side, because it talks about when I was feeling really, really burnt out and having to get to a point where I started to just enjoy photography again, and video again. And so watch that video, because I don't want to rehash on that point too long, but I will mention that burnout is a real thing for us as creatives. Like, we get to a point where our passion and joy in photo and video is now our career, and we start thinking about money. We start thinking about, mortgages. We start thinking about food on our table. We start thinking about deadlines. We start thinking about this and that. And all of a sudden, that joy turns into duty, and that duty turns into burnout. And so you want to make sure that you calm down and you don't book yourself to a point where you are no longer enjoying it and you are feeling burnt out, because that too will take a toll on your work and is unfair to your clients. So putting more and more work on your plate and not allowing yourself to actually rest and find enjoyment in other things is really going to impact you. And so there's a book that I read by John Mark Comer, and it's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And what it talks about is slowing down, allowing your life to slow down and get back in focus. And so he said, here's the point. The solution to an overbusy life is not more time. It is to slow down and simplify our lives around what really matters. And so if you are a full-time photographer or videographer or even part-time, you know that feeling of, if I just had another hour to edit, then I would feel so much better. Or I can't pull away from the computer right now. I have to cancel this plan or show up to dinner late because I have to do this. I just need one more hour. And one more hour is not the solution, because if you had that one more hour, you would then say, I need one more hour. And that one more hour would always be attached to another thing that needs to get done, because we allow ourselves to then run our business in such a way that it's always a new thing, a new task that we add once the old one is finished. And so when John Mark Comer was talking about that we start to really affect the things that matters, that's my fifth and most important point, and the one that hits hardest for me. So when I was trying to get this off the ground, I was working full-time at Apple and working full-time trying to get this off the ground, and my wife was working with me, and she understood the late nights and the busy days, but I didn't know where to draw the line. And that was hard. That started to take a toll on us because I wasn't carving out time for the thing that mattered most in my life, which was her, my community, my church body, and the close relationships that I had, because I always had something else that I had to do. And so it started to take its toll, and you could feel the weight of what I was doing to our family. And a lot of people saw that weight before I did. And that's the problem, is we get so hung up that we're kind of blind to what everyone else is able to see. And so making sure that this no days off mentality doesn't start robbing you of the things that are most important. And I started to see that, it fixed itself. I worked on it. I gave that up. It was kind of like an idol in my life, and I kind of gave that up and surrendered that. And then you start to see it come up again, without it being checked. That no days off mentality, even though in your mind you think that you've gotten past that, it can start to rise up again. And I saw that start to happen when we had my son, and we were so busy and I was so backlogged on edits that it was kind of hard for me to just enjoy and sit and rest and hold my son and giggle with my son. And I did not want the no days off mentality to rob me of that. And that's when I started to pay other team members to edit, or take on some of the weddings that I had booked for myself, because I want to make sure that I put the things that matter most as my priority. And so it kind of reminds me, here it comes, my Disney reference, kind of reminds me of Disney Pixar's car movie series. Lightning McQueen, he is the cream of the crop when it comes to race car drivers, and he knows that, and that starts to get to him because he starts to acknowledge that people love him, and he loves to be loved. He loves to be the fastest car out there, and he loves that people are giving him praise and accolades. And so he's on his way to a competition out in California, and he winds up having some trouble, and he gets lost in some car issues, and he gets stuck in a place called Radiator Springs. And it's in Radiator Springs that he meets another car who kind of went down that journey as well. And that journey, Doc Hudson starts to kind of speak into his life and make him realize that there's more to life than being praised as the greatest. That does not fulfill. There's got to be more. And so through his time at Radiator Springs, he was able to see that there were other things that mattered, things that were more important than his recognition. And he was able to kind of tone back that, need to be acknowledged and need to be loved. And so he starts building actual relationships with things that matter, and driving becomes something fun again, and not something that he does for his value and worth. And you'll see in the series, he wrestles with that. There's times where he gets back into that mindset of, oh, I gotta be the best. I gotta be known. Oh, someone's pushing up against me. I can't allow that competition to show themselves as better than I am. So I need to focus more and give more. and he then comes back because the people around him help him snap out of it. And so that's my encouragement to you guys, is do not let the no days off mentality keep you on this never-ending journey of needing to be acknowledged, praised, or feel like you are worth something. You are worth something, and the people around you can remind you of that. So have someone around you that'll help you. And honestly, when I know that I am being loved and appreciated for me and not solely for the work that I do and the content that I do, it inspires me to do better work, because I feel incredible going out to go shoot. I don't feel that weight of work on my shoulders. I feel the weight of the love that I have from my family. And then when I go create, I'm able to give that love to my clients and produce some amazing work. So that's my quick tip for today, and I hope that it was inspiring or challenging to you. I know that a lot of times we love to get on YouTube and kind of just see gear reviews or, tech updates or cool images, and I feel like those are great and I enjoy those. I like putting those out. However, gear can be replaced. Things can be purchased, sold, whatever. They're not going to make you a great photographer or videographer. But going into our craft with a healthy mindset, I really feel like that is priceless. And so that's what I want to encourage you guys to do, is kick that no days off mentality, make the best work that you can, and allow yourselves to feel fulfilled for the work that you do and the acknowledgement of those who matter, which are your family, your friends, and your own clients. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and until next time, God bless.